shout out to the sponsor of today's episode, Spider Farmer. Whether you got a big grow, a little grow, they've got you covered. Check Amazon, the links below with the promo code. Thanks, Spider Farmer, for sponsoring today's episode.
This has kind of got me to the point where we need to get into a discussion because what the fuck is going on with the world here? Let's check this one out here. Okay. So crazy fucks steal things at a store.
Oh yeah, I've seen stuff like this. Yeah, they don't care. Yeah. We also watched the video though of the lady coming out with a bag of shit and her buddy's taking off. Remember that?
Oh, I know. Middle of Ulta.
But nobody can stop them.
Pigeons isn't a black guy. He smokes glass. He's got his own bowl.
Yeah.
Insane.
Dude, they literally no regard, like right in front of everybody in the middle of the fucking day.
Well, the thing is like the cops will never respond, or not. It'll take forever for them to get there, right? And the security staff at these places can't do anything. They literally can't touch these people.
They've got whistles.
Yeah, stop! Stop!
Freeze! I'm gonna call the police.
Insane, TJ.
Wow, dude. Wow.
So,
That's the way she fucking goes.
That's wild, man. That's wild.
Yeah, eventually stores will do the shopping for you and you'll have to wait outside. It's gonna happen that day at some point.
Right? Right? Oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. But no, it's kind of it sucks how there's nothing there to prevent it. You know, they could have like the automatic locking doors. We've seen the ones where the guy gets stuck inside. You know what I mean? And it's just like you can't bolt out.
But he might terrorize all the fucking people there too. You know?
You never know.
For
sure.
You never know.
Yeah, for sure. That's
and what if they have a gun?
Gamble.
Like
the one we watched, they got out and locked the doors, right?
Yeah,
it was just the criminals.
It was a smash and grab, exactly. D squads, they rob with no cops on. That's what it is. No cops in the city. It
was weak RP, bro. Weak RP.
No scene was even there.
They didn't even make it. They didn't even give the cops a chance.
I swear, though, dude, if there was just more, and it's usually the youth, so if there was more for the youth to do, if there was things going on, maybe they would have less inclination to do stupid shit, you know? And, like, for me, where I live, there's nothing. There's nothing. They've closed down everything. There's a skating rink. There's a movie theater. There was arcade. They had clubs at some point. All gone. There's nothing here. This is for old retired people. And the more, like, bigger cities, there's some stuff. But in a lot of the smaller places, like, if there's not a good ROI, no one gives a fuck. And for some reason, the government gives no fucks to do anything to help the people, to supply activities or anything. So it seems like people are just becoming, it's not an excuse, but people are becoming more reckless and more selfish. You know what I'm saying? And that behavior is toxic, man, and it reverberates through the community, and more people end up having this kind of bullshit, reckless group think, and you see more activities like that, more actions like that, people acting stupid and doing things that are harmful to other people or to businesses. Like, Alta's got money. They're okay. But still, it's not okay to be doing shit like that. Like, I just don't get it, man.
Well, you know, it's like, I grew up on military bases when I was young, so I don't really know what it was like to grow up in like a civilian world, if you will. So it was a little different, but we used to have these places, like we used to have teen centers, and it was like a place where, you know, teens could go and hang out. It was like typically either in like its own hall, or they rented space, and there was pool tables. You could play video games. You just hang out and associate with your friends. Give you something to do. Give you somewhere to go. You know, we had skate parks. We had movie theaters, and I loved having something to do. You know, sometimes you're sure you were smoking weed outside the teen center.
Well, of course,
but you weren't getting in trouble. You know,
and it was probably decent weed.
I typically always had decent weed.
All we got is a boys and girls clubs, which are very restricted and kind of odd. They pair you up with somebody. I don't really like that. Like a mentor.
Yeah, that's what we have that as well. Brothers and sisters club. Brothers and sisters club. Yep. And you sign up, and they would give you a kid, I guess, or like I'm not entirely sure how it works, but yeah, and you would have scheduled days and to hang out. But it's like, if you know, it really comes down to volunteers too. You know, like communities run on volunteers. If you don't have volunteers, then shit doesn't get done. If you want to have a sports team, if you want to have like a scouts or a Cubs or a hockey team, you know what I mean? Like you have to have people that are going to run these kind of things. And if there's nobody there to run them, then it never takes off, and then you need to pay them. And if you're going to be paying people, well, then you need a source of income. And then it turns into these kids can't come because they don't have the money to pay, and you have to pay $2 to visit and $5 for this, and it's like, well, then nobody's going to use it, and then it makes money, but now no, it doesn't get used.
Yeah, exactly.
So then it's not making any money in the long run. So you need to entertain these kids, man. That's what kept me / out of trouble. Was places where I could go, I could hang out with my friends, we'd have stuff to do, hang out with the girls. Time to just be a kid, and without having to fill that space or that void on your own. And I think that's what's missing today. I really do. I think that's what's missing. More of these things.
Yeah, it's just it's really disappointing that government funds don't go to children more to take care of kids and helping kids. And there's all these people who are screaming the fucking save the children shit all over social media, and I ain't seen nothing lick of these motherfuckers donating their time or money to any sort of things for kids locally. So
Right.
I wonder where saving the kids are, because these kids grow up to be the shitbirds that we're watching on YouTube here.
That's how it goes.
If they don't get taken care of, man, and unfortunately with
Vicious
nothing to
cycle.
do, well, nothing to do, like what else do you expect them to do? Like you have no direction, you got no guidance. You're basing your life off of shit you see on TV or in movies or wherever. And what are they gonna do? Like I was that kind of kid too. Here where I moved to, there's nothing to do for kids, so I was acting a fool consistently. Like I just was out, we're walking around, we'd throw rocks at buildings or fucking just literally nothing to do. We had no aim. I ended up getting curfew violation tickets and became a habitual offender for getting curfew violations, just walking around out at night because there was not shit to do. My mom worked at night till 2 a.m. as a waitress, so there was nobody telling me what to do. I'm out living it up. Like I don't give a fuck. Who's telling me to go home?
Yep.
You know?
Yep. And having something to do would have kept you out of trouble.
Yeah,
There's just no
exactly.
doubt about it. There's no doubt about it.
Said
And I
juvie
bet you
kept me
would.
in trouble. I just stayed there, and that was my boys'
What a
club.
great teen center that is.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I do. Exactly. I got wrapped up in some stupid gang shit where they had me thinking I'm fucking making money and have a business opportunity or something, and I'm just getting played and being a scapegoat and getting charges and going to juvie. So it was to the point where, like, if you're in an area that there's nothing going on or you're raising kids in a place like that, don't be surprised when some shitbird activities pop up, because
Mm-hmm.
this is what it is. They're
But it
watching
comes down.
fucking shitty content and then
Yeah.
reproducing that in their lives.
You need good quality volunteers. Like you need people for these kids to look up to. And that means it's as much helping volunteers as it is helping kids. It's like I coach hockey, I coach soccer, and there's a lot of courses that you have to take to be a coach, and you have to pay out of pocket for these things.
Shit ain't free.
And it's like that's no, it isn't. But it's like that's what the towns should be paying for. That's what these leagues should be paying for. It's when it comes to gifts at the end of the season, the hockey teams buy the coaches like a little gift, like a little certificate or something. But in reality, that's not enough. That's not enough. It's like there should be more incentive to be a coach. And I'm not saying it has to be monetary incentive. It like you
Shit,
have
even
to
a
be able
tax
to
break.
tax break, sure, and yeah, as good as a charity donation, charitable donation. But yeah, it's not as easy to be a volunteer either, because it can be expensive. So it's a vicious cycle.
Well, and it
Definitely.
could be emotionally expensive too, because when you're dealing with
Totally.
kids, that youth that may be having a shittier life, or parents that aren't all that, you would assume that the coach would kind of take interest into the kids and help them out. Like I never had coaches that did that because their kids were on my fucking team, so nobody
Right.
gave a shit. But when I did boxing, I had that. There was a dude, my coach Richie, shout out to Richie, who I still talk to. I actually helped him grow some fire recently. But he knew my mom, so he knew my dad from back in the day, so he knew who I was as a person, and he knew I didn't have anybody around. Like period. My grandparents moved to Israel, and I literally just had my mom. That's it. I got no siblings. Her siblings moved to Israel as well. We had nobody. So he'd just show up and hook me up, or like take me and my homeboy out to the amateur boxing matches, the adult ones, and just to watch him and hang out, or bring us over to his hood and help. We'd be cleaning up his cars and stupid shit and making 10, $15. But it kept me occupied until I moved out to the suburbs, and there's nothing to do. There's nothing. There was no youth sports shit that I can get into because it was like you had to pay. Every one of them out here you have to pay. No matter what it is, it costs like $200-$300 plus the gear and then traveling fees. And then at the school, you got to dress fancy for the days that you're going to be playing. And I didn't have any like suit and tie shit. So, I mean, it wasn't an option, you know? But if there was a free thing or something that the government covered, then I would have jumped into that. Like that, there's a lot of, well, there was baseball at one point I did early on. But then as soon as you go into middle school, it's not an option. And I was just switching into middle school. So I was like, fuck. But it comes down to, there's nobody helping. Yeah, there's restrictions. There's nobody helping. There's no funds put into it. And it's disappointing to see. I think one day it'll change, but
you've got kids looting garbage bags full of makeup from Ulta. You know, that's what it's going to turn out to. It's like you spend the money in one spot, it's going to pay off in another spot. And, you know, it's the gamble, it's the balance. Jesus.
Hey, did you enjoy this episode? If so, hit the thumbs up. Don't forget, we got more videos just like this. Click them, leave some comments, and we'll see you next time.
And of course, go to watchcodb.com. Peace.